Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And this time I've got a video that I'm doing with Mark. It's not the other way around for a change. Yeah, it's not the other way around for a change.
It's not always like this. It's not always like that. Sometimes I do videos on this channel. I'm sorry. I don't do it enough. I don't do it enough.
It's more my fault, bro, because it's usually you coming with the ideas. But anyway, now this time we've got a pretty good idea for a video. We want to try and hash out to you guys, see what you guys think. And the question we're going to be tackling in this video is, will Trunks die in this arc? Similarly to how we did last time. But will it be meaningful? Will it be purposeful? How will it impact the actual overall concept and feeling of the arc? And how will it be resolved in the end? So, I mean, like, dude, what are your kind of thoughts on this? Do you think that Trunks will die in this arc in any kind of similar way to how he did in the last one with Cell?
I feel like that's actually a good question for everything, because the one basic concept of this arc that everyone's kind of latching on to is, not only is it probably the best arc of Dragon Ball Super thus far, but it's also like really ramped up the nostalgic factor. I mean, not only have, and I did a video about this on my channel, not to just completely plug myself right there, but yeah.
You plug yourself, dude. I do it all the time on yours.
So, like, I did a video on my channel that should be up by now, where basically we talked about Goku and Vegeta basically going back into their original gis from the Cell arc. I mean, they reverted. They had a complete character change where they basically became Whis' apprentices and everything, and they actually changed their clothes and their symbols and stuff to reflect that. And it was somewhat, the clothes reflects their character development, because that's how cartoons and characters work, where you have the gi and everything kind of corresponds to the gi and where they are in their life at this point. I mean, Goku is basically all over that in terms of whatever symbols on his whatever symbols on his shirt at the time indicates who he is and what he believes about himself. But they completely got out of those gis and armors and stuff just so nostalgia factor for having Trunks back. I mean, there's a lot of similarities from this arc and the Cell arc. So the question here is whether or not Trunks will die. I mean, if they're going off of that, like, definitely Trunks died in the Cell arc. He could definitely die here. And I definitely think that if that happens, there will be a huge impact going forward. Not only will help kind of resolve this entire arc, but also kind of give some shine to other people that we've seen thus far. I mean, what about you?
Yeah, I think similarly. I mean, I think there's a good chance that we could see something like that, simply because I was talking to you briefly about this before we actually started recording, but the idea of, the entire purpose of Vegeta's character development this far in the entirety of Dragon Ball Super has been to show how much more pure-hearted and how much more of a good person he is now. And obviously, I mean, like, when we saw in the Cell arc, he had this massive character arc all of a sudden in the space of about, an episode where he saw Trunks die, and he goes ballistic and blasts the crap out of Cell. And now, just, if we're thinking about the fact that he's been aware of the fact he's becoming quite similar to Goku in many ways, Goku always gets this massive power-up from the pain of loss, and Vegeta, that was, one of the first times he ever got that, or it was the first time he got that. And now that he's had such a big character development in this, you can only think that if this happens again, he's going to get an even bigger boost, an even bigger rage outburst of everything that's happened in this. So I have a feeling that if something did happen like that, it would be for the purpose to just show how much Vegeta has grown as a person, how much more he loves his son than he did back then.
And I feel like if that were to be the case, I know a lot of people, and it's just basically up for speculation and discussion at this point, but if they were to do something like that, then you would have to at least imagine at this point, although it's very unlikely, that Vegeta would get the win.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I feel like that.
I mean, I felt like that for a while anyway. I felt like personally, I want Vegeta to get the win, not because of, oh, Vegeta needs a win, just throw him one already. It's more, for me personally, I kind of feel it's more or less along the lines of, it's like an evil version of Goku. Let's be honest, what is more fitting than for him to take down an evil version of Goku? And not to mention the fact he killed his future wife and everything. This all centers around, it would be perfect for Vegeta to go back into Trunks' time and fix it all for him. Among the fact that Trunks originally goes back in the Cell arc to go and, say Goku can fix their timeline, he can make the world of difference. Wouldn't it be amazing if, because he did that, now he can bring Vegeta out of that timeline and Vegeta will save his timeline. And it's almost like, what a twist that would be. But when you write it all down, you put it all together on paper, that just makes a really nice story.
Mm-hmm. And then you just completely you start thinking about everything that they've already done to kind of set this up. I mean, they literally purposely made a filler arc, very small filler arc, in between this and the Universe 6 arc, where we saw Goku basically beat up a copy of Vegeta, which would help indicate that Vegeta would have the win over Black Goku. So I know it's a huge fan favorite theory. I'm just saying, like, if Trunks is going to die at the end of this arc or somewhere near the end of this arc, I mean, obviously, he's the type of guy who would definitely sacrifice, like, live, die, like, basically go in, try as hard as he can, die for what he believes in, what he respects, what he loves, be it the rest of the humanity or anything else. And Vegeta getting, like what you said, that power up in order to go and kill Black, that would be epic.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it if, like, they were put in a corner or something like this, and Goku's damaged, and Vegeta's damaged, and Trunks is damaged. Or Goku and Vegeta are damaged, and Trunks is still, like, fully healthy, but he realizes he can't keep up to the level that they are. And then, like, he's starting to look at it, and then Black's about to finish Vegeta off, and he jumps in the way, and, like, it kills Trunks or something, and Vegeta from that sees Trunks die. And that gives him the rage boost enough to defeat Black Goku or Goku Black, whatever. I think that would really ultimately put this massive, like, tension moment where he's almost in that sort of same predicament where Frieza is in his second form when he's against Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin, when they're all floating in the sky and he's on that little rock and he's deciding which one to kill. It would put them in that kind of position where he goes to kill Vegeta first and Trunks stops him or something like that. And, that I think would make a really good moment.
Yeah, and just kind of jumping off of that into everything else. I mean, the one thing a lot of people are forgetting about when we talk about who is going to kill Black Goku is that Zamasu is still a threat to be reckoned with. I mean, he's actually immortal. They made a point to indicate that Black isn't immortal and Zamasu's immortal. So even if Vegeta gets the win over Black, then he's basically getting the win over Zamasu's muscle at this point. He's not necessarily getting the win over the big bad of the series at this point. So you could still give Goku the win against Zamasu, and everyone would feel okay with that. Like, just seeing Vegeta kill Black Goku would give all the fans, like, their beloved, like, ending that they want and everything, and allow Goku to still get the overall win against the overall antagonist of the series. So it just makes a whole lot of sense. And if Trunks has to die in order to do that, then it's probably the best thing for the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree as well, because, I mean, it makes perfect sense for Goku to find a way to defeat Zamasu in the end, simply because that's their rivalry, that's their storyline. Like, if he were to have all this problem with Goku and then Vegeta kills him, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of story. But if Vegeta destroys Goku Black and Goku defeats Zamasu, it makes perfect sense to the story, because that's almost what it feels like it's been set up for so far. It's almost like Goku and Zamasu have had their own separate little story, while Vegeta and Trunks have had their own little thing with Goku Black. So, that's kind of my thoughts on that. I mean, I just want to get the point across to a lot of people that are thinking when we say, will Trunks die, we don't mean, is he going to be killed off completely? Like, I personally think that, there's a good chance that he could die and then just get brought back with the Dragon Balls again. I'm fine with that. I think we're just more looking for similarities in the arcs more than anything else, and seeing if Trunks can have a meaningful death, because even in the last one, it was meaningful because it made you go, oh shit, But it wasn't like, it wasn't the tide turner for the entire thing, you know what I mean? It did make Vegeta go crazy, and then that made Gohan have to get in the way of Vegeta, which set up the last bit, but it wasn't meaningful because it was Trunks. It could have been anybody, really. You know what I mean? It could have been, like, Ten Shinhan that got shot down, and Yamcha jumps in front of, like, and starts trying to blast Cell, and then Gohan jumps in front of Yamcha. So, like, it could have been anything, you know what I mean?
Exactly, but at the same time, like, it had to be Trunks just because, and not just because, like, Trunks was the operative person to kill at that point. It just made the most sense.
Yes, it did make the most sense.
It made the most sense because Vegeta was the only one strong enough outside of Gohan in order to make a difference, and you needed to have him go through that character development in order to actually, man up and actually hurt Cell enough to allow Gohan to kill him. That's a big thing when you talk about like just basically the development of a story, and it's somewhat similar here. And what you were talking about with the Dragon Balls, I mean, this is kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about here, if you will indulge me. Like, I feel like in terms of bringing Trunks back with the Super Dragon Balls of his own timeline, like if they're going to do that, and I've said this before, I made a video about this before, in terms of if they're going to bring him back with the Super Dragon Balls, the one thing they would need to do is instead of just like bringing him back or bringing Bulma back or bringing Mai back or whoever ends up dying at this point, they just need to go ahead and use this, like the unlimited wish that they have in order to fix all of Trunks' timeline. Just fix it. Or even just merge the timelines so that a main timeline is like where future Trunks wakes up. And we get to see at the very end, it's basically getting to see like what Dragon Ball would look like in 17 years with all these characters getting much older. And then kind of getting a very short glimpse into what the future of Dragon Ball is that we'll never see. I mean, because 17 years into the future, Goku and Vegeta are probably on their last legs of their, their prime. Yeah. And everything else, like Goten, Brawl, everyone is supposed to be older and like
I'm sorry, but how good would it be if they did this and it was just all of their GT selves and everyone just goes, no, you were doing so well.
No, I wanted. But yeah, my point is exactly like just have like wish everything back, and then you just have like Trunks wake up in bed and he's the only one who remembers, or like what you were saying sometime when we were talking about this earlier, like him and Mai are the only ones who remember like their particular timeline and understand everything that happened. It's like they know that, but they see exactly like all this fighting that Trunks has had to do, with the androids and with androids and Cell and Majin Buu and Black Goku and all this stuff. It wasn't all for naught, and he actually gets to have that perfect into the sunset, ending that he always wanted.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. You also mentioned something before, which I thought was almost like, oh, Mark, you just like told me the end of the arc right now. But like, it's the sort of vision. I don't want to say the premonition, but like the sort of little vision he had of like, imagining him, Mai, and Bulma sat down at the table and having food. Like, that was sort of almost him sort of going, no, I'll never get that sort of thing. So it seems like the appropriate way to end it is to give him that. You know what I mean? So he sits down at the table and he's like, what? I actually got it, kind of thing. And, if that's the case, then maybe Mai and Bulma don't know what he went through to get it, but he'll forever know. Or whatever, like, there's just something like that, I like the idea of it being fixed for him, because he got a bit of the short end of the stick at the end of the Cell arc when he went back in time, back to the future, because he went back to the future and everything was still fucked up. It was just, he now had the power to stop it getting even more messed up. So, like,
Yeah, it's not necessarily short end of the stick, it's just another way of looking at it. I mean, instead of, like, actually saving the future, he was strong enough to save the future, instead of, like, legitimately changing it. But when he first came back, he just wanted to change the future. He wanted to make everything kind of different than what it was, and let's give him that ending. Like that, let's just give him the ending he wanted.
Yeah. I mean, like, it just depends on which way you look at it, really, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, final thoughts, man. Anything you want to throw in the end of this?
I mean, after talking about this, like, I know I say this a lot, but after talking about this, and Toriyama can really just screw us over in terms of whatever he's thinking one day or the next.
I don't with a mustache.
Vegeta with the mustache. Well, that's not necessarily him. Unless he designed it, I'm not sure.
He did design that, yeah.
So, like, I think I just want to end it by saying, like, I think that these are really cool ideas. This is how I'd really like to see the arc end, because it's simple, it makes sense, it's coherent, it follows, like, to me, it follows like the structure that they've been kind of building out through this entire arc, both with the nostalgia, letting Vegeta kill the henchman while he doesn't necessarily get the big kill, but it's most satisfying it's satisfying for everyone all around, and to me, it just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, I personally agree with you, Mark. I think that everything that we've pretty much said in this video kind of ties together in a nice little story, and I think it would make sense for this to happen. And I think that everything we said in this video has the ability to kind of happen all in, like, it revolving around the same story. None of it's going to have to go, oh, well, it could be this, or this could happen. I think everything could happen. You know what I mean? I think it all has the realms of possibility to actually happen in one reality. So for that, I do like the idea of it, and I do hope that we get something similar. I mean, I do imagine we're going to get something similar because they kind of tugged on a lot of people's heartstrings when they showed that little vision of Trunks. Where he's having a Sunday roast. But I mean, like, it was kind of like, I don't know, I kind of feel like that's the way they're kind of going to go, because I don't really think they'd make you go, oh, for a Saturday morning kids show, and then just kind of go, no, stop that, you're stuck without it. Don't you dare dream again, Trunks. You know, I don't
Trunks
think...
doesn't get to dream. Trunks doesn't get to dream. He's had way too much of a sad life. But that's my point. That's my point. Before we end this is my point, guys. Like, this is something that Trunks definitely deserves at this point, because this guy's had the hardest life of anyone in the Dragon Ball continuity. I mean, for God's sakes, throw this man a bone.
I mean, for everybody that's like, you know, going, oh, Trunks worries too much, I don't like Trunks, let's just remember that he has been in a timeline where he's been suffering from depression and anxiety for God knows how long. And every time you mock him for getting worries, that's the anxiety kicking in. That's what you're doing. Don't tease him about that. It's not fair.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so I agree with you anyway. I mean, I do think he deserves that. I mean, like, let's just hope that Toriyama doesn't do what I'm worried he might do now. It's like, because everybody requested he come back, he's going to bring him back and kill him off and go, nope, no Dragon Balls. He's dead. Don't ever try and tell me what to do with my characters again. He's dead.
I never wanted to bring it back. I gave him a good ending, goddammit. Yeah.
But you guys weren't happy. So this is what you get. It's your fucking fault. But anyway, yeah, guys, I don't think that's going to happen. But let's hope it doesn't anyway. But thank you, Mark, for joining me in this. And if you guys haven't already gone and subbed to Real Productions, you really need to. He's got some amazing series ranging from the debates just to, like, you know, the pitch reels and the slice of life episodes that you're doing at the moment, this weekend half hours, which I am always glad. But then,
we need to do another one of those. I just haven't had time, guys. Like, both with the debates and the Suiken, they're just hard to like kind of put together. But at the same time, like, we got some great ideas going forward, especially with the debates. I have some really good ideas coming forward.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely got we got some good stuff in the pipeline, but we're not going to spoil what it is yet. But we promise you guys, it's going to be some big stuff that you guys are going to love, I'm sure of it. But anyway, like I say, go and sub to him. Make sure, if you haven't already, to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and to his. And remember to start your training on World King Kanji's planet. And I haven't said that in a while, but remember, because it's still true.
Woo! Definitely do that. All right.
So hot. But anyway, guys. Well, thank you for listening this far in the video, and we shall catch you all in the next video. Bye.
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 Bye.